Welcome to the Art Lady's home. Today I'm going to show beginner cooks how to cook their very first turkey. This will be a step-by-step instruction on just the basics of how to make a golden brown turkey. I'm also going to include some New England tips on how to cook roasted vegetables in with their turkey. Hope you enjoy. These are the ingredients that are going to go inside the turkey and also the stuffing. And sometimes I don't make the stuffing, so that's optional, but for Thanksgiving dinner in New England, we always had a stuffed bird. And my mom actually made oyster stuffing, but I'm going to show you how to make just a simple, flavorful stuffing using a box. I'm using, for the ingredients, I have a package of celery. I have about 3 medium to large onions. I have 4 here, but 2 are pretty small. And then I have a package of carrots, and then a package of portobello mushrooms, and those are optional. And then I'm throwing in 3 potatoes. I have those just odd in my refrigerator. Those are optional, especially if you're going to make mashed potatoes. You don't need to throw in the potatoes. And then I have a butternut squash that we usually have in New England with our side. And then I have some flavored spices here. You could go with what I'm doing, and I have separate spices because I cook all the time, or you can do an alternate, which is just a poultry seasoning. This has many of the things in it that I'm going to show you today, but I like to do my own so that I can have more or less of each one. I have in poultry seasoning, there's generally the rosemary, thyme, garlic and onion, and sage. I'm also putting in black pepper and herbes de Provence, which makes a really great turkey as well. You could even just do everything with herbes de Provence. I've done that before, where I've made a turkey complete with herbes de Provence. But the New England style that my mom always made was rosemary, thyme, sage, salt and pepper, garlic, and onion. So these are just the simple ingredients, but this is important because these are going to create flavors in the juice at the bottom for your gravy, and it's also going to infuse in with the turkey as well. And then I do have some olive oil here that we're going to rub on the dish and also on the turkey. But now I'm going to show you how I prepare my turkey. So the first step is to remove the past packaging, and I have it hanging off my sink area here, you can see, so that it's dripping into the sink. So I cut that open, and then I'm going to remove this kind of plastic thing that's holding the legs together. And once you do that, you can open up those legs, and then you can pull out the packaging. There is a package that holds the internal organs, and then there's also a neck in there. You want to remove that. Now, my mom always took the neck and the package and cooked it all at the bottom of the turkey in the juice for flavor. I remove that packaging, throw it away, and then I cook the neck on the bottom of the turkey. And that's optional too. You can throw everything out if you want. I removed the plastic. I slipped the 2 legs through the plastic holes, and then there's a bar at the top, and I just pulled that out. That's how you remove the plastic. And this is what the neck looks like. And then I discarded the little plastic bag filled with organs. Now I'm going to olive oil my pan, which is right next to the turkey. Just sprinkle some olive oil in there, just a few rounds of it, rub it with my hand, and then I'm going to put the turkey neck in it. So here's the olive oil that was sprinkled in the pan. Then you just run your hand over it. You take your turkey neck, place it down. Now I'm going to layer all my vegetables at the bottom. This is how I cut up the vegetables. First of all, I washed everything really good, and then I pulled out the insides of the celery and any of the celery leaves for the stuffing, and 3 real small carrots, and then a small onion, and then 2 of the largest mushrooms, and that's for the stuffing mix. And I'm going to dice up everything here very, very fine to put in my stuffing. The remainder of the vegetables, I sliced the carrots in half the lengthwise, and then I sliced them so they were little spears, like so. And they're approximately 3 inches long, and then some are 2 inches long. The thicker pieces I left at 2 inches long so I could slice them 4 times. The tips here of a carrot, I just divided in half because they were thin. I like them little small spears like this because it looks nice on the plate, and then it oven browns really well. So the small sections I sliced in half, and you can see compared to my hand what they look like. The celery, I did approximately half of them in spears like this. Same thing, it's about a finger length, sliced in half. And then half the celery I diced really fine. This way, this stuff can cook up and flavor the gravy. And then this is also going to make a base for a soup, a leftover turkey soup. So this will cook up to nothing and flavor everything. I did the same with the mushrooms. I left some pretty chunky, and then some I cut up for flavor into the gravy, or you can use it as your soup base, which makes a great soup afterwards. Now, I'm going to layer all the vegetables in the bottom of the pan. Here's what the diced up onions look like, and I diced up the potatoes pretty small as well, into little chunks. The potatoes will dissolve into the water and create a gravy as well. I laid the vegetables in the middle and then sprinkled the carrots around the edges. When the carrots are around the edges, it gives more of an opportunity for them to brown, because I love oven brown carrots. So the vegetables filled up a little bit more than half of my dish. So it raises the bird up to create a roasting pan in itself. All the vegetables are now going to absorb the juices from the turkey as it roasts and create an amazing flavor into the vegetables. Now I'm going to pull the turkey out of the package. So the turkey's going to come out of that package, and I'm going to rinse the turkey off and place it on top of the vegetables. To make the stuffing, I followed the directions on the stuffing box, and it says to heat up 1.5 cups of water. I'm substituting water for apple cider, and I've added a handful of fresh cranberries in as well. So I'm going to now dice up those cranberries and add them to the water and bring this to a boil. You may substitute. If you don't want the mushrooms in the stuffing, you don't have to. You can do a small apple cut up, which would be delicious. I've done that before. Apple and cranberry is awesome together. You want to always keep your celery, onions, and carrots because those are the base flavors for that stuffing. But then you can alter other things. For example, I have a jar of artichoke heart here, so you could use half a jar of that and not the cranberries. That would be amazing. So sometimes you can experiment with your flavors, but if you just want to go with traditional carrots, onions, celery, and then you could use mushrooms, that's up to you. But I like a little bit of tart in with my stuffing, so I do the cranberries cut up, and I'm going to cut them up fine and boil them with the apple cider until everything's a little tender. Here's the diced up cranberries, and you can see how I just blended it in with the carrots. So it's pretty small, and now we're going to put it in with the apple cider to boil. I gave a coating of olive oil to the top of the vegetables just by sprinkling it with my decanter, just kind of like this, light olive oil. And then I sprinkled the seasonings on top, just giving a light sprinkle of each one, like so. Each of the seasonings on the top of the vegetables. That way underneath the bird it is seasoned. And then I'm going to do the same for on top. So I've coated the bird with olive oil. And now I'm going to sprinkle that with the seasonings. Once the vegetables are semi-tender, I put the stuffing mixture in with the vegetables in a bowl, and now I'm getting ready to stuff the cavity. Now there's two different cavities. There's the front big cavity opening, but then there's also the one up here at the top of the breast where the neck actually comes out of the bird. So we can stuff both if we have extra stuffing. I did put 2 tablespoons of a butter substitute in the stuffing because that's what it called for in the box. I just stuffed the turkey. There was a little room in the front here for some, not much, and most of it fit in the main cavity. I'm going to sprinkle the bird lightly with all my seasonings. Just give a light coat. You can see how I started with the first 2 seasonings, and then put a lot of salt and pepper on the outside. And then I'm going to close up the bird's legs with some cooking twine. I wrapped several times around one leg, and then I wrapped the legs together. He forms like a little crisscross here. And then I finished coating the bird with all my spices and herbs, and I drizzled the top. You can see it glistening with some olive oil so he won't stick to the aluminum foil. I do cover him for about 2 hours. The cook time's going to vary depending on your size of the bird. Mine is about 13 pounds. It's a little under 13 pounds. And it's going to need about close to 3 hours because he's stuffed. I am doing an oven probe that measures the temperature exact, so we will know when he's done. I'm going to cook him a little bit under 165. I usually set it for like 162 and then let it rest, and by resting it, then he'll reach up to the temperature of 165. Internal cook time for turkeys need to be 165. But I never cook it in the oven till that part because to that temperature because he ends up drying out if I do. But that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to cover both sides with aluminum foil, cook it for about 2 hours, and then I'm going to take the aluminum foil off so that the skin can brown nicely. Here my red numbers say it's at 128 degrees, so I'm going to take out the turkey, and it's been cooking for about 2.5 hours right now. This is what the turkey looks like after 2.5 hours. So what I'm going to do is I've taken off the aluminum foil, and you can see the pan has filled with the juices. So I'm going to drain some of this. I'm going to have a bowl, put the bowl in the sink, and just let it spill into the bowl. That way my carrots can oven brown, and I'm going to save the juice because that's going to be used to make my gravy. It already looks amazing and smells amazing. And these carrots are just glistening. They're going to be great. If you haven't had oven brown carrots like this, you're going to just love them. Now I wanted to show you, I got quite a bit of juice here in this pan. And I'm going to let it set because the grease will settle on the top, and then I'll be able to scrape that off so my gravy's not so greasy. But this is what we're looking like so far. So I have it back in the oven, and I set the probe into the turkey breast, and I had it go through the bone and into the stuffing. Right now it's at 128 degrees, and I set it for 163. Here it is just coming out of the oven. And it made a lot more juice, which is great because I can turn it into gravy. But I just wanted to show you what it looked like. Total cook time was 3 hours and about 45 minutes. And you can tell that it's done when you give a little shake on the leg, and it's just going to break right off right there. But you don't want to overcook it. And I did my temperature at 163 degrees, and then I shut the oven off. Now I'm just letting it rest, and it's going to continue to cook while it's just resting and sitting here. Now I can take the bird out and then prepare my dishes. I can put my veggies in a separate dish, and then I can drain the gravy or the juice to make gravy. And there you have your turkey. And those oven brown carrots right there and vegetables are absolutely delicious. I can remember Thanksgiving as a kid. We're all fighting over the skin and those oven brown carrots, which are amazing. And there it is on the platter. And to brown up the tops of this, you can pop this back in the oven just for a few minutes. And I set mine on convection, and then it gives it a golden crispy brown. And there's the carrots. I just roasted them for about 7 more minutes. And here it is plated up. And we just served it with the natural juice, the natural drippings right in here. I didn't make gravy, but this will make an excellent gravy.